right, good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Michigan City Tree Board, November 6th. The roll call, please.
Patty Anderson. Here. Barb Ginther. Here. Bill Ginther. Not here. Laura Henderson.
Here.
Laura Koch.
Present.
Johnny Stinley. Absent. And Mick Wolf.
I'm also present.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Everybody get a chance to read over the meeting minutes from October.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The Secretary Treasurer's Report ending October 31st.
Move for approval.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer's Report has been approved. Claims for November. That is Debbie Wilson for Secretarial Services, $200. Board member compensation on attendance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
The claims for November are approved. Communications. Any communications? Anything, Debbie?
Okay. They know, but they don't know about that.
They don't?
No.
Is that public?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent it to you for communications.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So Bill has resigned from the board, effective immediately.
Okay, sorry to hear.
Due to his health.
Yeah. Okay.
We appreciate all his efforts here.
Yeah.
For sure. We'll miss him.
We'll miss him.
All righty. The communication is Bill Ginther is resigning from the board effective immediately. All righty. Any more communications? Committee reports. That's outreach, Mick Wolf, Laura Koch, Laura Henderson. Education and gardening tips, public relations, any calendar events, Arbor Day, anything like that.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Great time to trim those oaks.
Oh, yes.
Make sure people are insured.
I've been
Great
out
list
there
out
doing
there.
it myself today.
Very experts are out there everywhere. Protect those broadleaf evergreens. Good time to put up some burlap and stakes. One more day maybe with weather that you could do that wilt stop spray protective application. But it's a good idea to get up some burlap and stakes if you constantly have winter injury on your broadleaf evergreens, which include rhododendron, boxwood, holly, and pieris. There's a couple other kinds. So it'll really help them. Other than that, watch out with that de-icer this season with what you're using. If you're using straight up salt, just be aware that those types of products can be very burning. So pay attention. There's a lot of great products out there that are really safe for the environment and a little less harsh. So
I have a gardening question. Should I pinch back my mums? I just plant.
So right now you can actually leave them as they are, and it adds a little bit of winter protection.
Okay.
For them to just die back as they are right
So
now.
I planted them?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Good soil. Get them nuzzled into the ground.
Okay.
But then in spring, you actually want to go ahead and give them a pinch back or a halfway cut back, and that's actually going to help fill them out at their core.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you'll still have your buds and blooms for the fall and a more compact plant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It'll protect them. You're welcome.
I noticed that trees are now available from the state nursery, so it might be a good time to order for springtime.
Yes.
All right. Any more outreach? All right. City park trees. Jessica.
I finally got the stumps ground out from Lakeshore Drive, like literally 2 days ago. So I finally got NIPSCO to come out and do that. And I had a meeting actually with Jeremy from the Parks Department to sort of think through some ideas for some replacement trees that we can ask NIPSCO to get for us. So obviously, they have to be smaller or they're just going to get cut down again. So, we were thinking there's a couple varieties of redbud that seemed like they'd be a good fit there. And maybe some hornbeam, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. But the other thing that we're working on too is that we don't have to plant all 32 replacement trees in that same spot. So say we wanted to do maybe 15 of them, to line that street again, then we can take the rest of them, of that 32, and we can, go for some of our bigger shade trees or, essentially anything we want. We just have to decide what it'll be. So I'm supposed to be meeting with Jeremy again in the next couple of days, and hopefully he'll have made a survey of the park and sort of deciding or thinking about what it is he might want to do. So that's hopefully moving forward, and we'll be, first on the list for planting in the spring.
The hornbeams, I had a client who had a lot of them, and they seemed to get susceptible to a borer of some sort.
Really? Okay.
Not that, things have, since then, I think things might have changed. I think that's just one of the things that we have to look into.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know where the borer came from. I think that might have came from the stock before they hit the landscaping.
Sure.
That's my only reservation. It's a tricky spot out there, but it was just kind of funny that, when we planted those trees, that was a NIPSCO deal 20 years ago.
What was there before?
There was nothing there before.
No, I mean, no. What were the trees there?
Oh, there were pears.
That's what I thought. I was like, so in a way.
Yeah.
But the only problem is they worked there.
Right.
Even though we don't want to do them there, they worked there rather nicely.
Yeah.
I just, the pears always, in the landscaping world, they were always meant to be planted to be cut down, in 20 years. They didn't have a forever lifespan.
Yeah.
Do we do that again? I guess that's another idea that we have to, look forward to. Those rose or Eastern, the redbuds there, they just seem to be more of a bushy type tree.
It depends on if you get the single stem or clump, though.
Sure.
But there's also new dwarf varieties out of the redbud, and I don't know if you are open to using those options, but then you'll get a little less.
Yeah.
Well, you need something a little.
There was one in particular.
You need thick tree because you got traffic, you got salt, you got the wind coming off the lake, you got everything going against those trees along there, and that is the crown jewel of things. But I am up for any type of.
Let me see. There was I'm trying to recall the name of the species of redbud that we were thinking about. Let me see if I can remember. Okay. It was in an email from Andrea Nichols. Forest pansy redbud.
Oh, so they're the burgundy leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little more dwarfed. I mean, they're a little more compact, and they perform really well, actually.
Yeah. That's
they have a lot of different eggs.
Right. And they're really bright.
They are bright.
When they flower.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's a good one. It's been
interesting.
returning well at places too, so.
Good.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, just for along there. And we don't, like I said, we don't have to do 32 of those. We can just do,
and
whatever
I'd
we
mix
want,
it though too. Let me come up with a couple of other options.
That would be excellent, yeah.
Yeah,
email me?
as well. Yeah, because I think it'll be keeping it compact and keeping it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the strength in it too.
Yeah.
We'll put them. I'll put
Now,
them
were all those? There was trees on the other side, on the zoo side too. Did they get those too, or did they figure those into the mix?
They had.
Or they only get the ones on the other side of the street?
I think they only have the ones on the other side of the street, but they pulled up the work orders. Were there? I didn't see any stumps on the other side, but I didn't know about them. But I can go back and check.
I'll look and.
Okay. Yeah. We haven't finalized anything yet, so if we find more, I'll just email her.
We still got. What about the stumps there on?
They're still there.
They're still there. So that's another NIPSCO.
Yeah, right in front of the library.
4th Street.
Yeah,
You
they're
got
still
4th
there.
Street. You got Pine Street.
Those need to be significant trees. Those are right at that Main Street corner. So we really have to be choosy about what that's going to be and when we put whatever that is in.
Right. Well, think of, what you would like to see there and just let me know. Yeah,
Sure.
because the sooner
Yeah. It needs to
I
be
can
lined
tell
up.
them what we want,
Yeah,
the
now.
better, just to make
Yeah.
sure that first thing in the spring, all these go in.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't want to give them a reason to procrastinate because
Yes.
They've already
It-
been procrastinating.
well, exactly. And
Yeah.
it took me, after finally making contact with Andrea Nichols, it still took repeated emails and
Back and forth
things
to put it all straightened
to
out.
get these stuff, to get the stumps taken
Yeah.
out. So I want to just make sure that I'm on top of them.
Yeah.
And so if we come at them, relatively soon and say, we want X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
let's get it on the
Person
schedule.
that you emailed or that you talked to that finally got results, the public relations.
Yeah, I emailed Don Babcock to see if
He
he could
needs-
get me in touch with.
I mean, he's the one who.
Right. Well, I plan on utilizing him as frequently as I need to. So,
He seems the only one to get results.
right, and I plan on using him whenever I need to.
That's good news, though.
Yeah.
So we do though. You have to decide on that kind of stuff now to get it all lined up. And
Exactly.
I ordered for the garden center about 2 months ago for certain special things for.
Right.
Spring,
Exactly.
so-
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
want to make sure that within the next couple of weeks we get this all done.
Get some
So,
things
yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Alright. Those are city park trees. These are city street trees now.
So I have actually been, in preparation for submitting our Tree City USA, been pulling together information, from my time here, but also tried to trace back, throughout the subsequent year and get a tree report together. Sort of, give an idea of how many street trees we've taken down, how many we've put in, and I'm mapping them right now so that I can, better target for planting next year. And I did confirm with the controller's office we have $100,000 for purchasing and planting next year.
Good.
Because I got that $50,000 from this year encumbered, so it's going to carry over to next year, and it's going to be in addition to the $50,000 that we're getting
Let's give her a
allotted.
Yes.
So we have a lot of money, and I want to make sure that like the park projects and everything, that we can get some things in place. So,
That's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gives you a lot of
Thank
leeway.
you.
Right. Good.
Right.
Good job.
With all these storms, how have we been doing with maintenance and cleanup and stuff like that?
we've had to take a number of trees down, and I'm actually in a tough spot. I'm at the end of my budget right now for contracted services. And so I'm actually in the process. I have a number of oak trees that I want to start getting trimmed that my street department guys can't do because they're not trained for that.
Good for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple of their trimming jobs on other things, and I want to make sure that it's done properly. So what I'm doing is I'm collecting bids for certain projects so that I can then request from the mayor and from council the release of some more funds so that we can get some contracted work done before the end of the year. I know that Don and Paul Przybylewski both have told me that they would sponsor that request in council, so I think it should go through. It's just a matter of time. Once I get the bids in hand, then I'll make my case, and yeah.
Did we look into the Grand Beach Road, that project that has gone along the Amtrak?
I haven't had time to do that yet.
I'm getting pinned on the donkey again.
Yeah.
They're bringing it up in
Yeah.
the political realms.
Right.
We got to start moving on them a little bit. So, they threw it on a lot of last-ditch effort leaves, so we kept it off there, but now the leaves are falling down and it looks like scarecrows out there.
Okay. Send me an email, and we'll get together on that.
Thank you very much. All right. Real quickly, the Tree City application, you can also use the leaf labor and all the
Yeah.
stuff for leaves because that's maintenance.
Right.
So I know that the past we've
Yep.
used
My
that
guys have been out there.
to fluff up the amounts, but
Right.
it is.
I mean, we're
something we can
way
use.
over anyways, so we've spent a lot of money this year.
Playing catch up with everything.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, but that should be ready to go in when it's due next month. Once I update just the final figures, once I get all of my invoices for this month. But yeah, that's ready to go. The deadline for our in terms of the urban forest plan maintenance, the deadline for our RFP for the tree inventory was the 1st of November. So we have a handful of applications or letters of interest, and with the election and everything, Craig and I have been kind of pulled in all kinds of different directions, but our plan is in the next week or two to sit down and get our committee together to start reviewing those and move forward. So get that assigned and get that rolling.
Grant applications, we talked about that a little bit.
I'm looking towards that a little bit more, probably after the first of the year, just as the cycle starts up again. Because I know a lot of the grants that had been applied for previously and that had come to my attention either through the state forest or other avenues. A lot of the deadlines are like late summer, early fall, which is right when I got here. So with the changeover in foresters, we just kind of missed out on that the last year, but it's on my radar, on my calendar.
Okay. So. Purchasing tree planting. We talked about that with the 100,000.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We are working with NIPSCO on some tree planting. Mostly, probably now, is going to be early in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Anything more? Let's see. Planning department. I haven't heard anything in planning for a while. The urban forest management plan. That's we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming up. Tree City designation. That's going to be going in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Goals, fundraising goals, anything like that the board wants to talk about?
I just had a couple of thoughts on fundraisers. I'm just going to throw this out. We're not going to be able to do anything this year, but I was going to ask you, Laura, what do you guys think about perhaps selling bulbs in the spring?
Oh, we can do, there's spring bulbs, that can do for main season, and then there's also fall bulbs that can be considered as well, and absolutely.
I thought that might be something
could line that up.
Would sort of go along with what we, try to accomplish anyway, and I thought you would be the person that would know.
Sure, I've got several.
If we could order them or whatever,
and
try to see if we could get something worked out.
Oh, yeah, we've got several great suppliers that do multiple items,
Right.
even in regards to edible things, starts for that and all of that kind of stuff, which is, people are really motivated to do that.
Yeah. That's, okay. That sort of occurred to me because I thought, I know a lot of people that do purchase their bulbs and things like that, and so if we could turn it into a fundraiser for us, that might be.
Sure. I'll see what I can get together that would be really nicely laid out and see if maybe they even have something already. A couple of the companies I work with, they do a really great job of marketing, so they might already have a form.
I was going to say there might be some that already have some kind of a fundraising thing for the schools and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me see what I can find out for it. I love that idea.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Old business. Workman's compensation. That's we're still working on that. I guess we have to reach out for the attorney here with everything that has passed. I think things have been kind of tight over there, but I think that's probably maybe the first of the year we get that, we push that a little bit more. The application for planting trees in the tree line, anything?
Yeah, Laura just gave Jessica a copy of it, and we're going to give her some time to review and see how she thinks.
I mean, this looks great so far.
How it's laid out. And so that's what we put together this last year.
Or the year before.
Or the year before. It was the year before. It's all melding together. But just making sure that it's covering everything that we need for it. And so if you let us know, I don't know, we might be able to.
Would this go up on the city's website?
It would.
Okay.
There's links set up already.
Oh, great.
In different directions. So,
great.
Yeah. Make the process a little easier.
Okay. One thing in new business last month here is the workman's comp waivers type thing with nulls and logins and stuff like that. I think we should discuss this a little bit in depth there. As a board, and I think the city should have some policy, if the contractors are going to play this side of the game, then, if they use subcontractors, which that's what a 1099 person is, they have to prove their own insurance too, and maybe have it as a subtitle
it's
too.
got to be across the board. I read the notes from the last meeting.
Yeah.
I read it too, but that is. I mean, I hear things, I see things that come to me. I'm sure Laura does. Is from the state on this workman's comp, redesignating employees, that are people that are trying to do this.
Yeah.
There are some big fines levied. Not that I didn't get in trouble, but I was warned pretty heavily by my insurance agent.
When you're doing any type of work at that level of liability.
That they do check, and, I just don't know how logins and they can get through that. I mean, that's the easy get out. So, in this coming new year, if we don't have this workman's comp in the actual ordinance there, they're going to have to show each person. And I have still not yet to see a tree trimmer with one person.
Right.
I hope to not see
I hope I don't see it. But,
a tree trimmer or a tree removal service with one person.
The waiver is made for mostly probably, the small guy, the sole proprietorship that works for himself, a plumber, an electrician, the guy that's actually out there pushing it by himself.
Right.
That's where the waiver comes in.
Right. No, I agree. It's a really underhanded way of going about it. But I agree, getting with the city attorney and just sort of, pushing her to figure out what exactly, our legal requirements are, and if they need to be updated and if they need to be changed. That'd be an Amber LePage question for sure.
Well, this is the same language that would happen in any other. Not just tree trimming, but any other landscaping, large type of
constructural, anything like that.
So what do we need to do to move this forward?
Well, I guess we have to talk to Amber, or I don't know.
What was her last email report back? That she had just kind of had seen it and said that.
Well, she said that the attorney's office was kind of overwhelmed, let's say, for lack of
That's right.
They were playing catch up.
that there was a lot of really outside issues that had to be dealt with, and ours.
Someone was out of the office, wasn't there? Someone was.
There was out of the office, and there was just
I remember that. Yeah.
a lot of employee type issues that had to be dealt with.
Right.
So I feel her, I see her, I get it. So, but that's why I think the first year, if we get on it, really, this will be one of those.
We're getting closer
points.
and closer to the fact that all of it. We've talked about it for the last year and a half or two now.
Yeah.
And it's just about getting that wording right.
Alrighty. Well, all right, we kicked that horse already.
A couple things.
New business approval of the final 2020 budget.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay, so we're going to table this deal. All right, we're going to table our portion of the 2020 budget. All right. This comes to this time of the year when we have to pick a committee for the nomination committee for president, vice president, and secretary. So I guess I'm not on it, so.
I'll be on the committee. Laura, you want to be?
there's not enough here to
I know.
really,
Do we need
Do
to
a
talk about
committee.
that too?
yeah.
Do we need to talk about that as well?
Well, let's.
Do it now.
You know, you don't show up, you get appointed.
Johnny's on it.
So Johnny's on it.
And that's the way we do things around here.
You just gotta move it down the road here. Oh, that'd be a good. I think you ladies did it last year.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't.
All right.
You did.
That's gonna be the slate.
Yeah.
I think I twisted your arm. No. No, we did, yeah.
Board member comments.
I have a question, and I'm sure I know the answer to it, but I was just curious. I know Johnny's been very busy with what's going on, but has anything progressed on the garden?
Yeah, all he needs to do is that property line
Yeah.
for the staking of it to know whether or not those trees are included or excluded, because that's going to shift the whole garden and the design
Right. Yeah.
quite a bit. But other than that, he's got the water line. Actually, I just went by the other day. The water line is in
Is
as a stake, which is so
All right.
exciting. And I think a really important thing is that we connect with some sort of irrigation company locally and see if they'd be interested in being a part of setting up in some way, some sort of irrigation or plan for it to work towards in the future financially to make sure that this is really a successful garden. Because whether or not there's irrigation access or not, it needs to be workable and
Right.
movable to those items. But now there's a whole nother list of items that are now donated to the garden too. So it just keeps getting added to the pollinators. Lots of perennials. Several fruit trees. We had already talked about fruit trees.
Yeah.
Raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, asparagus. So lots of fun things. So as the project builds, but it's going to be important that the way that we approach this, those trees are going to make a big difference. They really are.
Right.
Of how the layout's going to work.
She's gonna have to leave, so can we
Yeah.
go to public comments
Yeah.
and then we can go back to this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'll just
And
wrap it up. That we'll
6:30.
need to spend a little more time on it, but I think we'll need
You
to talk
can't put
about
the
it.
fencing up until we do.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later though. We have plenty of time. So.
All right, public comment.
That's me?
Yes,
I came to talk to you about,
Your name, please, for the record.
okay, Janet Toyra, that's Toyra hyphen Smith, Smith. I live at 408 East 8th Street. I'm in the Elston Grove area. And if you folks are the ones that take care of the tree lawn trees, that's what I wanted to talk to you about at that address, okay? The type of trees that I have, which one completely was dead even from the early spring on. The other one is exactly half dead, half this way. I have never seen a tree like that, but it is half dead on one side. They're both the same type tree. The name of the tree I can't give you, but what it is, about 8 years ago when Sheila was here, or 10 years ago, they had redone Franklin Street and paving and put ornamental trees on either side. They're the trees with the feathery bloom.
Yeah.
That comes beautiful white feathery bloom. Okay.
Lilac?
No.
I think.
Serviceberry.
No.
We'll see.
Not a serviceberry. I have two. Those are two other ones next on the other side and this side. But these are the ones with the beautiful white bloom. Okay. And the designing was done at the time they did the Elston Grove redo.
Yeah.
And that was within, 6 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So you could even look on there and see what it was. But I would suggest, when I saw the ones on Franklin Street that were killed also from this last winter, as well as my trees, I would suggest you don't put those kind of trees back in.
Well, we're having a lot of problems, especially with our maple trees right now. There's a lot of maple in Elston Grove, and so as we replant things, we're going to be choosing some.
Yeah, well, these are not
different
maple either.
No.
These are
Curious.
A lot of things are hit and miss with the salts, and you know, last year being one that you have to throw in the record books as far as
No.
you know, there was failures all across the board.
right, and that's
But
why I
just,
say mine was not the only type of that tree that froze, because after I looked early in the spring on Franklin Street, some are dead, and some are partially disabled, as my other one is. So I just wonder, are you the people that take out those trees and put new ones in?
The city as I am, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, who does this? And I don't really care which one you put in or what.
Right.
But I would rather mow around a live tree than a dead stump.
Right.
And I have 5 obstacles in that one area anyway that I'm mowing around.
Okay.
Signs and light posts and everything else right in that one area on the west side of my driveway. And on the east side, it's not bad at all.
Right.
That's the half tree.
Okay, well, I can tell you that Elston Grove is actually one of my priority areas in terms of, removing dead and dying trees and planting trees. We've removed a lot of trees from Elston Grove just since I've been here. And so that's, one of the areas that I want to make sure we build up again pretty quickly.
We realize living in Elston Grove, since it is more rentals than property-owned properties. And if you look at the ones that are rentals, most of them do not have outside water spigots.
Right, I know they do that on purpose.
And so therefore, when the trees were planted,
they can't
some of us watered, but some did not water.
Right.
And that's why you've lost a lot of trees in Elston Grove.
And part of my plan for planting this coming spring season is, so I'm also in control of vector control, which is a lot of the street cleaning, mowing crews. And we do have a watering truck. And so, sort of understanding that, the watering is something that isn't consistent, across the board. I've already spoken with my supervisor about getting, a watering schedule going, especially for those areas where we plant a lot of new trees, because they do need it. And in addition to that, especially, in rental properties, I don't want to saddle those, I don't want to saddle residents, who may not be able to afford the watering costs, with that kind of responsibility. If that makes sense. So that's something that we're talking about as well.
It's a very fine line.
It is.
Rental properties are hard properties. They take a lot. It's a lot of give and take by the city to keep them honest and keep them going.
Yes.
Well, this address is not a rental. I reside in that building. And I did reside in the other building next to it, which I sold. It's not being taken care of either. But anyway, I'm still in my building with the 2 trees. And I did, at the time the plantings were done, and about a year after, they had the way they were clumped in so tight, the roots could not even get out. And so I did take care of 3 of those trees. The 2 that are doing really well in front of the tall building next to where I used to own and live.
Right.
And the one that is totally dead, I took care of that too.
Right.
But I think it was the weather, the winter, that hit it so hard, because it was the winter that hit the ones on Franklin Street also this past winter we had last winter.
It's probably a dead on all sides that is facing the traffic from the spray going up.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, that looks a lot like it.
Yeah.
When it was alive.
What is it?
They're beautiful.
Oh, it was a lilac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It has no fragrance.
I thought it was a lilac.
No
yeah.
fragrance.
Yeah, they're just beautiful. And whenever
They
I
look like
tell people-
feathers.
Yeah, that's those. Yeah, the minute you said
This
it,
long,
How large do
they're
they get?
gorgeous.
they're
Down Franklin
a
Street, they're
fantastic
beautiful.
tree. They're beautiful, but yeah, something happened.
Something did happen
And for the
last year.
longest time, though, those were the longest standing out of, a lot of the ones that...
Yeah,
That's my card.
thank you.
With all my information.
They were one of the ones I was going to recommend to her, what the area she was talking about earlier.
As a landowner of that property, to get on the list for you to do something about taking out the dead ones and putting in new ones.
Just give me a call in my office and I'll put in a work order for
So
it.
tonight doesn't do it.
I mean, I've written it down. Yeah, so I'm going to go do a site evaluation.
Okay.
But then, yeah, planting will be in the spring.
Yeah.
And I have a running list that I'm making of people who have requested trees.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can put you
I am
on that.
requesting.
Yes.
But we got 100 grand to play with.
We do, exactly. We've got the money. So I'm planning on
Boy, that's a nice
I
feeling.
came here.
dropping it this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I knew it was
So,
And
yeah.
for the record, she did come in earlier this spring when it
Yeah.
was a different, and I just want you to know that she was up there with the request.
Oh, yeah.
And there was nobody solid in your position.
Right.
There was a lot of changing going on.
Yeah.
Right.
And these people all heard my request,
Yes.
or most of them heard it that were here that night that I came. So I thought I would come again tonight and make the request again.
Absolutely.
But I'm assured now that you will put my name on the list.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank
Absolutely.
you.
You've got my contact information, so if you have any questions or anything else going forward. So.
Yeah, and you also, if you need my phone number or something, you can give me a call if you want to check
Yes.
those trees out and see if you're in the right place. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be great.
All right.
Can I take that down?
765
Okay.
714
Mm-hmm.
9543.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening to my request
No,
again.
thank you.
For your patience with our
Yes.
transitions. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
I-
you're taking care of your trees too.
Well, I'm
We really
trying.
do.
I'm trying.
I know.
I felt real bad all summer because it looks so horrible in front of the house with the dead trees. I mean, the house itself doesn't look the best, but the trees added a lot to it, but now it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
thank
no,
you
we'll
for
get you on
listening.
the list and
Your idea on the bulbs are great. I love it.
I know. Me
I will get some.
It's such a great idea. I really love it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you for
evening.
coming.
evening. We'll be in touch
Nice meeting you.
too.
As a side note for the trees that did, die out the way that if it was a significant amount of the same variety, it's a possibility that maybe you should send a little sample of the half living one into Purdue just to make sure.
Just to make sure
pictures,
there's not,
everything.
yeah.
I would
Okay.
do that because if they
It's a good idea.
some of the things that died out, it was because they were already infected though in a way last year, and not everything, but a lot of them. So I just wanted to say
Perfect.
yeah.
If you got fly,
Lilac.
Jessica.
Yeah, I'm gonna run just so I
Yeah. Thank you.
don't miss.
Have a good night.
Oh, you guys too. Thank you so much. I'll be
a great
sending
job.
you to an email. I really want to get talking about some species of trees, for
well,
Washington
lilac
Park,
was
but then
on that
also
list,
for
but that's why I wanted to
neighborhoods.
make sure about that.
I love
Yes.
this. Those would be beautiful.
Mhm.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go jump back to board member comments if there's anybody who got missed. Okay.
Let me get that door from
Oh gosh, there's one so much.
Yeah, we got good stuff going on.
you. Yeah.
It's getting better and better.
Next meeting date is December 4th. Anybody have any? Is it good?
It's good. For everybody else?
Okay. And I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I second.
Everybody in favor?
Hi.
Aye. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Ladies and yourself, gentlemen.